Before we start, let's make one nigun for Elul to go into it. Ani ledodi ledodi li, ani ledodi ledodi li, ani ledodi ledodi li, ani ledodi ledodi li. Shiur tonight is Elul Nishmat Eddie Abraham Ben Irving. Eddie, who passed away last Thursday, was like a father to me, so it's hard for me to visit there in Chom Avalim when I feel like I should be sitting Shiva myself, because since I was 17, we were very, very, very close. And some stories will come out, but there's so many stories. But the biggest thing with Eddie, I learned different parts of Torah from different people. Eddie was the epitome of Gavat Yisrael. He taught us he taught a few generations of youth to be strong, proud Jews. And his symbol was David HaMelech. So that's where I'll start. I'd like to ask everyone to tell me what you think are dominant traits of David HaMelech. What would you think that David HaMelech, right? We're talking about David HaMelech. When we talk about David HaMelech, we're talking about
courage,
the Mashiach, right? We're talking about everyone has a rabbi, everyone has a rebbe, everyone has a leader, and his leader, to him, must be someone that would symbolize David HaMelech. If he is not the symbol of what he would see in David HaMelech, then I'm sorry to hurt anybody's feelings, but they have to find a new rabbi. They have to find a new rebbe. They have to find a new leader, right? Because that is what we are supposed to look for. When we look for our Rav, we look to Moshe Rabbeinu. We look to someone that symbolizes greatness in all the ways that they are supposed to be. So, can anyone name a trait that we find in David HaMelech that is that trait?
Jewish pride.
Jewish pride.
Strength.
courage.
Yeah.
A fighter.
Okay. Fighter, right? David HaMelech, it says, right, he was, right, to be Milchemet Mashiach, right? The fighter, the Messiah fighter, the Messiah, the fighter of redemption, right? So that is what we say, right? When we say, who is David HaMelech? Who is the Mashiach? What traits does the Mashiach have to have? First we say, Ish Milchama, he has to be a fighter, right? What's another trait?
I like what Reb Shlomo says about David HaMelech. He says that David HaMelech was full of mistakes in his life. But
Not to fear.
It was all about Yeshua all the time. How does he bring it down? He says David HaMelech did 1,000,000 mistakes in his life, and was always run down for it. He never lost hope and belief in Hashem. Hashem will fix if he prays, he will fix things up. That's how he brings it down. He's not the perfect.
If I could
if you can own that.
say what I think, what you're saying,
Yeah.
well, maybe I'm wrong, but what I think when we talk about Shlomo, when we talk about David HaMelech, we talk about Achna'ah, right, of David HaMelech, right? In our modern times, who would resemble David HaMelech? We would say, Achna'ah, you shouldn't ask that question. You know why? Because you are learning that book every day.
About Greek.
Hebrew.
So tell them what Achna'ah is, but you're learning it in English, right?
Yeah.
No.
Not to
Nice.
So-
Bitul is to.
Bitul is not Achna'ah.
leikana, that bring up yourself
We
to
say that
David.
Achna'ah is David HaMelech, and Bitul
They
is
bring
what he says.
yourself in front of the biggest one.
Submission.
Humble,
Submission
humble.
and humble.
Submission, humble.
Humility.
Humility.
David HaMelech comes from below, right?
Yeah.
Here we have the Navi that goes through all the brothers. Says there's another one. Oh, we have this one, a little shepherd, right? He's the one, right? David HaMelech comes from humility. He comes from, right? When I was just going to ask about Rav Bravender, gave a dwort about Rab Shlomo Carlebach. I said it when I just thought about it because I said it the other night by Zivi, and it is really thinking about it now. It's like he has to come to Motzei Shabbat to Brabender. There were once chavrutas many years ago, and he came. He said, Rob Brabender said, sure, come. He says, can I bring a friend or two? He said, yeah. He ends up that neighbors are saying there's about 200 people on their way to you. Everybody he met wanted to come along too. They say, but when he told this Hasidic story, I won't go through it now. But he Rob Brabender said it's not like that. I know Hasidim stories, and I don't think that's right. So Shlomo Lewis says, so I lied? I made it up? He says, yeah, I think he did. He says, okay, you're right. I made it up. And then he says, that night, he opens up this sefer that he had all these Hasidic stories of the Rebbe's that he was talking about. And he looks and he sees word for word exactly the story that Shlomo said, and it was exact. Right? And so Shlomo wouldn't, he had such achna'ah, such humility that he didn't want to say, you're wrong, I'm right, Tell them, you're right, I'm wrong. Right? That, you understand what that's David HaMelech, on one hand. Right? On one hand, from a personal point of view. But not on the other hand.
Not a national point of view.
No, he comes up like a lion. He fights like. So what we're talking about, like you said, Ish Milchama, he has to be also a builder. He's got to be a builder. Now we see all over these David HaMelechs now, all over Yehuda and Shomron, right? First of all, you see all these boys today with the big kippot sugot and long payas, and and red from the sun of working and building all day long, and then learning Torah in the evenings, and so he has to be a builder. Has to be a builder. David HaMelech is a builder. He builds Beit HaMikdash, right? He has to be a Talmid Chacham. David HaMelech has to go and hold up the Torah. He's got to be a Talmid Chacham. He has to be, like we said, humble, anav. He has to live in Israel. I'm sorry, but I heard everybody that doesn't like to hear this. All these sweet, cute rabbis outside of Israel are not David HaMelech. They are not. He is a Toshav of Israel. He lives in the land. He breathes the land. He doesn't leave the land. He's a Moser Nefesh. Complete giving of himself for Am Yisrael, Torah Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael. And he is Posel Kiyum Kiyilot Bechlal B'chul, and he's Posel Amim Acharim Be'eretz Yisrael. He does not accept the existence of other nations inside of Israel whatsoever. Right?
Unless you're talking about Gil Toshav, no?
No, Ger Toshav is not one that says this is his. Ger Toshav is one that wants to build Israel because they are the chosen people. That's a he Arab. There is no such thing as an Arab Ger Toshav. He says it's his. He says what is the biggest thing that makes the Arabs pasul? They cannot accept that the Jewish people are chosen. They cannot accept in any way, shape, or form. And that is what Rashi says, that they did tshuva, but then they went back. Right? The whole point is that they daven 5 times because we daven 3 times. They fast for a month because we fast for a day. Everything that we do, they have to do more. Why? Because they want to show that they are the chosen and not us.
And what about the Christians who give us money and all those things, but they don't believe that they do it probably because they want Jesus to come back again?
Somebody brings food but doesn't come as a person. Huh?
Oh,
She doesn't
she's
speak
speaking
English.
English. She's our neighbor.
So, but everybody here speaks Hebrew. No.
Oh,
La, la.
well, any of that stuff can.
Well, you got the
Soon you'll start the Ulpan.
Can.
So,
Yeah.
Christians,
Because they give most of the money to Nefesh B'Nefesh. People
There's
who
a-
come.
a Christian group, for example, that follow me, they're not Christians anymore, they're Shevet Mitzvot B'nai Noach.
Boy.
The ones that created, the one who created and started all of the groups, right, that came out of Texas and all different places of Shevet Mitzvot B'nai Noach was Rav Kahana. And he was the first. And like I told you before, there was a big national convention, I think I mentioned it to you, and at the convention, Rav Kahana was listed, and all the rabbis wanted to get involved, rabbis of Mizrahi, rabbis of Chabad, rabbis of everywhere, right? Everybody wanted to get into this Ger Toshav, that was the Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach, because it's a commandment, they want to all, say that they did it, right? So, all the rabbis disagreed that Rav Kahana was there. So,
Because?
what?
Why did they do that?
Because he was,
Wow.
how do you say?
Extremist?
Conflicts.
She was what's that word with the C?
Sibuchim.
No, in English.
Conflict?
He's
Concrete.
no,
He,
that too.
he
but-
was controversial. That was what I was
Controversial,
looking
right,
for.
right.
What is that? What was
So-
Sean?
So he
Section,
he was controversial, and therefore, all these
Okay, great, thank you.
puppet rabbis, didn't like that, and they said, if he's coming, we're not coming.
Right.
So their answer was, don't come. They talked to Rav Kahana came and to speak to them, and they talked to him and they said, Rabbi, we don't need them, you're our rabbi. Said, yeah, but that's not the way we Jews will do things. We need to do it a different way. If you're my students, I'll explain to you how we do it. Right? He said, you put on that it's from Sunday until Thursday. You're going to change the schedule and you're going to write it's from Monday to Thursday. I'm going to come on Sunday. I'll give lectures the whole day. And I'm gone. Nobody knows I was here or gone. And then you continue. Everybody's happy. That's the way we do it. So that's how
Went down.
that's how things are done when Rav Kahana's in charge, right? No conflicts, no controversy, no fighting. Everything went smoothly, and Rav Kahana was there because that's important. He always said, no one is going to shut me up because no one says what needs to be heard.
Right.
So, the idea, the understanding of Christians is there are people that we have to understand in the time of the redemption that need to be brought closer to Judaism. Everyone in the world, right? We have different shlavim. There's 4 shlavim. We just are finishing the 3rd shlav, which is women learning Torah, right? It was a decade ago, women didn't learn Torah, right? The time of redemption, women are learning Torah. And then the 4th shlav is for the goyim to learn Torah, right? But there's problems. For instance, someone mentioned neuro Chabad. So I just saw, this group that asked me to speak to them and teach them.
What's
They call
neuro
themselves
Chabad?
neuro. No, she mentioned about some neuro Chabad.
New. She said new.
New. Anyway, they came out, they told me, but they came out and they told me they are neuro Jews. so that you can look us up, right? They showed me their Facebook page and everything. All they did, they're non-Jews who
Claim that they're Jews.
decide to take and pick and choose what they want and made a new religion of African Neuro-Jews.
African?
Now this is,
That's
excuse me,
that's
but this is
Christianity.
BS.
Wait,
There's no such thing as, one second, let me just finish this.
Neo-Jews. Neo-Jews, maybe?
Neo or
Neo.
Neo?
Neo.
Maybe
Neo
Neo.
means
Ah,
Neo
Neo.
means fire.
Neo-Jews.
Neo, okay.
Neo,
So,
Neo means
there is no such thing in Judaism
They're
and in
conservative,
Torah
Neo.
as
Yeah.
choosing and picking. It's a package deal, brothers.
Right.
You either take it all or you got nothing. You cannot pick and choose what you like and don't like. That is the danger with these different Christian groups today. They come to learn from us because they got nothing true in themselves. And then they choose and pick what they want to make their own religion. But we have one religion. It's that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. It's good enough for me. It was good enough for Moshe. It's good enough. That's it. It's the old time religion. There is no new testicle. There is no new.
Testament.
Right? You can't make up new religions. It does not work.
Hold on.
And that,
Hold on a
yes.
second. Wait. I know something a little bit different. If they say that they are the new Jews, that's Christianity's fallacy all over again. But if they want to pick and choose, take on a certain mitzvah, for example, a non-Jew comes to a Beit Din, three Jewish men, says, I want to take on Shabbat. That's it.
They're
This
not allowed
Shabbat.
to.
You're allowed to. The
They have
Rambam
Torah.
says, no. The Rambam says, the Goy Shamar Shabbat Chayav Bita, but not a Ger Toshav. A Ger Toshav, if he is already...
Noah had you mean.
First of all, we're not
You-
talking about Ger Toshav because
בסדר.
we're talking about now.
But
Ger
a
Toshav
Christian-
is after Mitgaleh
Noah, you're not a
HaMashiach,
Christian anymore.
Hatishvi.
I don't know, I've seen
such,
on the
there's
internet,
no
somebody-
such,
they've already given
no,
to
there's no
somebody
such,
a-
only after Gilui Hatishvi. Hatishvi, but that's another point. The point is that
It's a halachic question if a
That's-
guy can do certain mitzvahs. A guy that does some
Sure.
mitzvahs, if he can add
that's
a few
not
more,
the
Yes,
question
sure.
is that I'm
One
trying.
Chilul Shabbat, because if you Shabbat Shabbat.
Wait a
Should
second.
be spoken
No.
of.
The question was asked about if we can use. I'm trying to get to a different point about the Christian money and Christian things that are going on. First of all, to teach someone to try and get out of his idol worship, Avodah Zarah, right? We have this now, this new
Logo.
breed between connection, covenant between these Arab groups and the Catholic popes and everything. There's, they go very well together today for some reason, right? And the Pope is trying to do everything to destroy Israel, right? But the point is, a group like that, you can't take, you don't take, the only thing that they can get is the sword. They can't. You cannot say that we are the new Jews and you don't belong in Israel. Right? Anyone that says that is an enemy to Israel and inside Israel.
Needs to be killed.
If he is not in Israel, he can be left alone. But inside Israel, he must be killed. Sorry, that's Torah.
Don't do that.
Right? There is no room for anyone that comes and says that they are the new Jews and we are not in Eretz Israel. Right? So, many of these Christian groups are hiding that fact that they believe that.
Right.
They cannot be dealt with whatsoever. They can either be. There's two things that can be done with them: throw them out or kill them. There's nothing for them to be doing here, right? Now there's other groups that are closer to understanding and believing that we are the promised people, and they have certain misconceptions that they can be taught to leave, right? There was a group when I was in administrative detention. In those times, there were different groups that made a lot of demonstrations for me, and it became known all around first Israel and then the world. So these groups wanted to speak to me when I came out. And when I came out, we talked, and they heard me, and they said, "Wow, you never heard such things so true and strong." And that. So eventually, this group, who was based in Norway, became Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach. And they left a lot of their misconceptions. So if that's the case, then it's allowed. And but when a group comes and they say, you know, I've had groups that came to me at different times when we had things going on in boys in jail that were fighting from things that was happening in Yudan and Shimron. And they came and they said, "We want to give you this money," right? Exactly your question. And they said, "You should know and bless this money. It came from Jesus." I gave the money, right? Because here is in Yan Shul Kvod Hashem and Kvod Yisrael. And I said, "I think Jesus needs it more than I do. Give it back and get out." And then later there was some of the group that apologized. But depends on the situation, right? We're talking about a time when everything is very gray and not so black and not so white, and it's very, very difficult times. Anyway, I hope you got an answer to the question, and I'll continue. What? I wasn't.
Well, they give money to Nefesh B'Nefesh for people who make Aliyah all the time, so people shouldn't use Nefesh B'Nefesh?
That's a real problem.
Rabbi.
That's a very bad problem. So many people come with Nefesh B'Nefesh these days.
I mean,
I don't know.
I tried to make it short in an answer, but if I don't make it short, then we'll talk about this
Yeah, that's
the whole
true.
shiur.
Whatever.
So
Yeah.
I think it's better to go on. Can ask another time
Tov.
because it's not. I see it's not going to get to be a short answer.
Yeah.
But so we spoke about what we have to think about as far as David HaMelech. And all those things that we mentioned, first of all, have to be how we look at our leader, our Rav, our Rebbe. But not only that. These are things that we have to look at now in how we must act in the new year. How we must act in our personal lives. What we must do. Right? We'll go more into that. As I said, I was all week in Nichum Avanim, which has a lot to do with this parsha, the last parsha, which we have Nun, Chet, Mem.
You're still on.
As the three letters of the shorsh, the root of Nichum. They say Nichum. Now, we have different names of comfort. For example, Nechama is a comfort name. Nachem, Menachem. Right?
Yeah.
But sometimes we have to understand that what is true comfort. Listen very clearly. Everybody sitting down. Nahum in Ninveh, right, came out making Rav Kahana look like a rabbit, yelling and screaming and telling the people of Ninveh, right? Ninveh was like San Francisco, Tel Aviv, things are a big commerce city, everything going on, everything happening all night long, things were that. But the way that they were, in a spiritual sense, was atrocious. It was disgusting. They were considered an abomination, right? In Nineveh, Nahum, right, he talks about to them and he yells at them about how they are acting in all kinds of terrible ways, right?
Where is this in Tanakh? Remind me.
What?
Where is this in Tanakh?
Nahum.
Nahum is a midrasa.
The prophet Nahum.
Oh yeah, yeah.